Well, welcome, guys. Something totally different this week. Something we're probably going to have to do quite a lot. We've got my good friend Jake Fowles here. Say hello, Jake.
Morning.
Because everyone seems to be loving the in the fishing room style videos, we thought we'd do it with a twist. So we've got Jake here, and it's a big week, Jake, isn't it? Big week.
Massive week. So for SONUBAITS in particular, it's our launch, our spring launch. Probably fallen at a bit of a funny time with what's going on in society at the moment, in the world at the moment. But in terms of fishing, there's plenty of people still heading out on the bank, and we're launching all our new products.
Yeah, so we've been well, you particularly have been teasing them for a good while now, haven't you? 6-7 weeks.
Yeah, so it started out little teasers, and then it's just built up and built up. And then last week was where I've announced every new product, and this week they're heading to the shops. I believe some shops have actually got them sort of yesterday. They started going out on Monday. So over the next few days and into next week, all the shops are going to start getting their deliveries of everything, basically.
It's definitely happening because we saw a picture from Juicen's Tackle, didn't we?
Yeah.
With
so
all the stock.
Yeah, and the girl who works there wearing one of our SONUBAITS hoodies, which is also new. Mick had gave her one of these to show everything off as well, so that was nice.
There we go. So if you are heading to the tackle shop this week, and we urge you to do so, get to the tackle shop, check it out. They're going to need our help, aren't they, Jake? These tackle shops.
Yeah, definitely. And what's really encouraging is that these tackle shop owners are actually coming up with ways of sort of obviously stopping the spread of coronavirus, COVID-19, what's going around at the moment. But a lot of these tackle shops are doing their bit, sort of going out to cars, handing whatever bait order that you've made. You can call up a lot of these shops and they'll bring it out to you and you can pay that way. So that's really encouraging to see as well. And even matches have seen Western Pools this morning. They're doing their bit for the draw side of things. So you don't want 20, 30, in some cases 100 people dipping their hand into the same pot.
No.
A lot of these fishery owners and fishery managers are doing the draw for them and just sending them off to the pegs, keeping sort of contact to a minimum.
I saw at Southfield Reservoir this morning, Andy Renton and Mick Axon, who run the matches there. They're in the van. You've got a bag on the outside, so you put your money in the bag, and then he draws you a peg out. So people are doing what they can. Obviously, be sensible, everyone. This is a serious thing that we're going through at the minute, and we need to be safe, don't we? But the great news is, fishing is a relatively solitary pastime. Obviously, match fishing, you've got to be careful with that. But if you can get out pleasure fishing, it's got to be good, hasn't it, Jake?
Yeah, it's got to be. It's one of those sports where you're not sort of rubbing shoulders with anyone, no physical contact. You can sort of be confined to your own space, but doing what you love still. And that's one of the great things about fishing, and why a lot of people are still really wanting to go in these times, sort of thing.
Definitely. And obviously, we need to get some fresh air as well. I know, like, we're working at home, aren't we? Like we do anyway. But, it's important to get fresh air in it, a bit of vitamin D, get that in you, and get out fishing, but do it sensibly, folks. So the new stuff then, Jake, are you going to run us through it?
Yeah, may as well. So while we're here, so I'll sort of go through the list in some sort of order.
Yeah.
We'll start with ground baits. So we've got 2 new ground baits. One that everyone will know about, Thatcher's Dart.
Thatcher's Dart.
So Thatcher's Original, so we've taken the original recipe from the Thatcher's Tackle Shop, Rodney Mills there, who basically has given us the recipe so that we can work from it, use that recipe, and that's why it's Thatcher's Original. Thatcher's Dark, we took some time getting this right, so we could have brought this out last year, but one of the most important things for us was that it's a dark ground bait that stays dark once it's in the water. A lot of dark ground baits that claim to be dark are dark when you mix them up, dark when you see them in the bag, but when you actually drop them into the water, that colour starts leaking, and a lot of the time they go a sort of funny grey colour underwater, which the purpose of a dark ground bait is that fish are confident feeding over the top of it a lot, or that's the theory behind it. So once it's in the water, you want it to stay dark, because the whole point of it is that fish are confident feeding over a darker ground bait in generally in clear water conditions, harder venues that are fished heavily, that sort of thing. So Thatcher's Dark, as we know, is a brilliant mix anyway. Plenty of fish meal in there, crushed pellets, and then some breadcrumb as well, which all fish love.
Yeah, just an absolute winning mix. And I will add to that with a dark thing, because initially when you pick it up, you may be expecting a black ground bait.
Yeah,
dark isn't a black ground bait, but that is darker in the water than most black ground baits. Yeah. So just bear that in mind when you buy it or you go to look at it. That stays dark in the water, which is what we want.
Exactly. Yeah. Moving on from Thatcher's Dark, one that you'll love, Banoffee.
Get on the Banoffee.
So the Banoffee flavour last year for us was massive. It's been really, really popular. Obviously, it smells beautiful, but also it's a sweet flavour that fish just seem to love. The Banoffee flavour is something that we thought we need to add it in a ground bait in a similar way that sort of chocolate orange was sort of something at one point, and still very much is. Our chocolate orange mix is sort of on a similar vein really, but the Banoffee ground bait, crushed expanders, blended fish meals, and lots of biscuits. So for me, this would be perfect. It's going to be perfect on a method feeder, in a feeder. For skimmers and bream in particular, I think on the pole, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. It mixes up really, really fluffy, but also is so sweet and nice smelling that you just think it's going to be absolutely bang on for skimmers and bream. But like I say, it's also going to be great on a method feeder because it's going to bind to the feeder. I know you've used it yourself. What did you think of it?
I used it last week on I went and did a feature of Match Fishing magazine, and I used it on the method feeder. 75% this, 25% pellets. We'll talk about pellets in a minute, but that was a combination, and I caught loads of fish with it. It's got enough stick to go around the method feeder without being over sticky. Like Jake said, it's nice and fluffy as well. So in the cage feeder, it's perfect. Takes on plenty of water, so if you want to fish down the edge of it, it's nice and inert. It'll sink on the bottom, and it smells. You open the bag, it's amazing. It's like a cheesecake. But ultimately, it is a fish meal ground bait, so just remember that. It's just perfect for all-around commercial fishing in it, Jake. Perfect.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, I think that's one thing. It's Banoffee, but it is a fish meal ground bait. There's plenty of fish meal in there, high-quality fish meals. So it's going to be perfect for your commercial venues and a bit of everything, really. It's a nice all-round mix. And like you say, it does take on a lot of water. I remember mixing it up for the first time when I was doing a bit of filming, actually in my kitchen, and being really surprised. I was like adding a pint of water and then another pint, and it just keeps absorbing it. So it's going to be great. It's heavy. You're going to be able to bosh it in down the edge. And I think if you add a bit of a Banoffee bait booster to it as well and add even more weight, it could be absolutely perfect for your margin mixers.
Yeah, real good one that, and obviously a massive 2 kilo bag as well. So, but the way this swells up and the amount of water it takes on, you're getting a lot of bait for your money there, aren't
you? Yeah, definitely. Moving on from ground baits, so our pro expanders are something that have been massively popular. You go into pretty much any tackle shop and they'll tell you how popular they've been. Towards the end of last year, we released the 2mm Pro expanders, which are generally new. Obviously, they came out at the back end of the season last year. So if you haven't tried the 2mm Pro expanders, you do that. Brilliant for skimmers, but also F1s through winter, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, we have now got is a pre-prepared Pro expander, Pro Hookable expander pellets. Now these come in 6mm and 8mm. There's 5 flavours. So you've got F1, fish meal, bloodworm, krill, or Banoffee. And if I show you these, they're absolutely beautiful. So an expander pellet, nice and soft. Good thing about these, they're a little bit tougher than what you would expect from our standard Pro expanders, but still very soft that you'll be able to put a hook straight through them. So if you're pole fishing or fishing a waggler, they're going to be perfect for that. But also you can get a spike through them. So if you're fishing on a method feeder, you're going to be able to actually use them on a method. But more importantly, you're going to be able to push them into your mould. They're not going to split, and you're going to know that they're on the hook when you're fishing. So when you're actually out there fishing, you're not sort of thinking to yourself, oh, is my hook bait still on? Which sometimes with an expander pellet can be the case, and something that can put a bit of doubt in your mind when you're fishing. With these Pro Hookable expanders, I know I'm going to be using them because they're just so easy. You can have them in the tub, take them out, put them on a spike and chuck them out, and they're going to be brilliant. Myself and Lee Carey went to Barston about a month ago testing them, and they were absolutely brilliant. We caught a fish chuck on them after using other baits throughout the day as well. So the Pro Hookable expanders are going to be brilliant. Another product, I believe you use them on your feature with Match Fishing a little bit as well. Had a bit of a go with them.
A few people asked me about them after that feature, and the one thing I love using expanders on the method, as you well know, and the one thing I liked about them, like exactly what you said, some like pre-prepared expanders are a bit tough, aren't they? And you just not quite right. These ones just feel bang on, but even after crushing them in my method feeder as hard as I can, chucking them out, leaving them out for quite a long time, I was reeling in and it was still on the hair every time. I was using a rapid stop on my hair, just spiking a 6mm on. I used the Banoffee ones, which are a lovely sort of pale yellow sort of colour. And they're on every time, so it just gives you that confidence that even though you're using a soft bait, it's still on, which is everything in it. So.
Yeah, and I know that one of our anglers is absolutely brilliant, Andy Findlay. Now, Andy orders, in terms of what bait he can have, whatever bait he wants. Andy uses just micro pellets and expander pellets pretty much all year round. That's what he uses. A bit of corn for his corn paste and that sort of thing, but generally he doesn't use a lot of different baits. When he saw these, he absolutely loved them because that's what he does. He fishes a method feeder with an expander on a spike, and with these, he absolutely loves them. And he basically nicked what stock I had at the time so that he could get straight on them. And that's the thing. They're going to be so easy. And Andy likes just to keep things simple, and that's exactly what they are.
I think it's worth saying as well that the last point on them, the tub's massive. You get loads.
Yeah, there's absolutely tons. They're going to last you a long time.
Yeah, brilliant.
But moving on from them, we will go on to, so I've not actually got these here, but we'll overlay something over the top. Sticky method pellets. So Joe's got them there. So 3 new flavours in sticky method pellets. Obviously at the moment they come in original, they come in F1. We've now got Banoffee, chocolate orange and krill and squid. And the thing with these are, when you look inside the bag, they'll have the standard pellets in there, but they'll also have a fleck colour within them as well. So the Banoffee ones have got a fleck of yellow through them, the chocolate orange a fleck of orange, and then the krill and squid have got a fleck of pink through them. So obviously, as well as the flavour, you've got that extra visual attraction from the colour that they will bring to the method feeder as well.
And obviously, just soak them. I actually soak them how I always soak my pellets, but you find your best way for that. You probably have a better recommended route. But I just soaked them how I always do. Just covered them in water. They were absolutely perfect. Just left them. Didn't flood them. Just enough water to cover them. Left them alone, and they were perfect. Nicely swollen pellets that stuck around the method feeder. Lovely. So good product. Like that one. Yeah,
that's the thing with them. They're a quality pellet, and they will swell up in that way. I think the recommended way of doing it or on the bag, is 150ml of water, which isn't very much. It's a bottle that sort of size.
Yeah.
On the pellet, swill it round, and that's enough, because obviously they're the sticky pellets. That's enough to make them sticky and bind to your method feeder.
Nice one.
Moving on is our new, so this is just an addition to a range, but we've got new 8mm feed pellets basically. So we've got them in F1, bloodworm and krill. So if you can see them, basically they're going to be perfect for in your summer months, whether you're fishing for carp, but in particular fishing things like a pellet waggler. An 8mm pellet, you can fire it out further with a catapult. Perfect for that sort of thing. But carp fishing, putting them in a band, they're going to be perfect. And I can see the red ones being perfect for mugging. I know a lot of anglers are preferring a red pellet when you're mugging, just creating a bit more of a silhouette. So having them in your bag is going to be perfect for that.
Nice.
A new range. So everyone knows about Wafters. We've now added sinkers to the Bandom range.
Boom.
Bandom sinkers. So they come in all of the flavours that a wafter will come in. So I won't list them, can't remember them all. But basically every single flavour that is available in a wafter are now available in a sinker. Now, some people may ask what the benefit of a sinker is over a wafter. I've been doing a bit of tank testing recently. Obviously, Joe and I, we're not allowed out as much as we have been, so we've been at home thinking of ways that we can do our job slightly differently. And one of those things is doing a bit of tank testing, making use of what we've got around the house, basically. Using fish tanks to do a bit of filming is a great way for me doing bait sort of stuff.
Perfect, isn't it?
And one thing that's really noticeable with a sinker is when it lands with a method feeder, anything like that, banjo feeders, that sort of thing. With a sinker, the weight of it actually means that it stays right on top of the pile of feed. Whereas a wafter, obviously, usually when you're fishing a wafter, or a method feeder in general, the hook lengths that you use are generally heavier strength of hook lengths, which brings with it a stiffer material. And with a wafter, it tends to pull it away from the feeder a bit, which is fine if you've got the odd feeding fish in your peg and it's coming in, slurping everything up, because a wafter will naturally be more easily picked up. So bigger carp will come in, slurp everything in the area up, and the wafter will just naturally get dragged up with it as it sucks up a volume of water. With a sinker, I think because it's falling right with your feed, when it's a bit harder or there's lots of fish in your peg and they're really homing in on the bait, a sinker being right over the top of your bait is going to be the way to go. It's not flicking the full length of your hook length away, which you might think, oh, it's on a tight line, it's 4 inches away, that's not very far. If a fish is coming from this way, there's a lot of play in your hook length for it to actually suck it up.
You pile the bait there, and then your wafters over here. It's oh, Jake.
What?
Got a delivery.
You can. It's all right.
It's all right. Hang on, you might have to carry on pulling through with the sinkers.
That's all right. I'll talk about sinkers for a minute.
They might not be coming here. He's going to leave it on the step anyway, isn't he?
Yeah, I've had one this morning and she dropped it and ran.
So your sinkers, obviously, it just gives you another presentation, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think for F1s and more sort of fish that are going to come right over the top of your feeder and really pick it, I think a sinker's going to be the one, because your hook bait sits right where your bait's landed, whereas a wafter has the sort of tendency to pull away from your feeder.
Definitely. So loads of different flavours of them, isn't there? Different sizes.
Yeah.
I'm all about them. I've got to be honest.
6, 8 and 10 mil sizes. And the good thing is they perfectly match up with our hooks. So you've got a 6 mil, which will match up with say a 16 kkm, an 8 mil, sort of a 14, and then the 10 mils perfect with a 12, sort of in our MCM range.
Brilliant. Nice one. So what's next?
Next is a new addition to the wafter range, Fluoro.
Yes.
Know them. So these are obviously very, very bright hook baits.
Hold the fort, Jake.
Yeah. Okay, so he's going to pick that. So these are available. So the Fluoro range, you've got oranges, pinks and yellows in there. Really, really bright. So when venues are coloured, generally commercial venues, anytime from spring right through to autumn, coloured water means a brighter hook bait so that fish can home in on them, basically. Again, they're available in 6, 8 and 10 mil sizes. Just as a sinker, they are available in a sinker as well.
Back.
Here he is.
Sorry about that, guys.
So you're just talking about the Fluoro wafters. Yeah. But yeah, like I say, they're available in a sinker as well, 6, 8 and 10 mil. Three colours in there, all available in the one pot, so you're not having to buy 3 separate pots for those 3 colours. But a great addition that we needed, and importantly, they have our tried and trusted F1 flavour, which, as we all know, works very well.
Yes, beautiful. Beautiful flavour.
Yeah. Next up, flavour shakers. Now, these aren't necessarily a new product. They're something that I've been using a lot when I'm using maggots, especially through the winter months, but also when it gets to summer, when you're throwing a lot in, I'll be using flavour shakers on them then. But Adam Rumble, and also his mate Jack have been using these a lot and winning a lot down at Monkhor.
Been winning.
Winning loads. So Flavour Shaker is, as it says, it's a shaker which adds flavour to your bait. Obviously, in a similar way that Bait Booster does that, but is a liquid, this is a powder. So you wouldn't necessarily pour a liquid over maggots, but the powder is perfect for that. It comes in 2 flavours. You've got krill or F1. Slightly different pots than they used to be in. They're also cheaper, so now they're $2.99 for a tub like that, and it lasts you ages. And you just give it a generous sprinkle over the top of your bait, whatever you want. Basically, it can be your maggots, but it can also be pellets within your ground bait, anything like that. So if you wanted to add extra F1 flavour to your F1 ground bait to make it even more potent, you'd use Flavour Shaker, pour it in, and just mix it in as normal. Obviously, a great addition. And just helps boost the flavour of your bait.
Like pimp your bait, innit? I think something a few people have said to me, it'd be nice to have flavours that you can just add and put your favourite flavour in ground baits. Well, we've had them all along. We've just refined the range, and that F1 flavour in particular, so good at this time of year. Throughout the winter, spring, that bit of sweetness, perfect. Krill in the summer, you can't go wrong with them too, I don't think.
No, exactly. And I think there's ground baits that, for example, I use that. So Super Crush Expander, for example, I use a lot of that all through the year, particularly in the summer. I actually like it as an edge mix. It just absorbs so much water. Yeah. That is effectively just crushed expanders. Yeah. There's nothing other than crushed expanders. So there's no additional flavour to that. So adding some sort of bait booster or flavour shaker to it is the perfect way to just give it some extra flavour and a bit of edge.
Yeah, nice little product that is, and one that people might have missed. So get on the flavour shakers.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something where if you're using maggots and everyone's using maggots, there's no harm just giving them a bit of a boost, adding some extra flavour to them. So moving on from that, so we've got flavour shakers. So 5 new flavours of lava. Basically just to keep it in touch with the rest of the range. We know how effective lavas can be. Add in a bit of colour around your feeder, give it a bit of a squeeze on top of the feeder, and it'll just add a glow of colour. You've got pineapple and coconut, Fluoro, Banoffee, washed out, and krill and squid. So that keeps it in line basically with our bait booster range that has been so popular. Just means that people can match things up. They can use the bait booster, use some lava, and as well as that, find the matching hook bait as well. So it keeps it in line. Lavas, they're brilliant, especially when you're targeting big carp, venues like Boddington, where a lot of liquids and flavours are used. Sometimes not doing that, it can be the difference between getting a bite or not getting a bite. So when you do it often, that can be the difference, and you'll get bites straight away. I know that
we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen it with our own eyes, haven't we? Like where you can be fishing away with pellets on, not catching, little drizzle of that on, creates that visual attraction, and you can get a bite. So well worth trying, isn't it? Keep it in your bag, smear it on, happy days.
Definitely. And a new addition, probably one of my favourite additions to the range, is haze.
I love haze.
So haze is another liquid, a bit like lava, but it's thinner in consistency. So one of the sort of gripes we get with lava is that when it's cold, it does tend to stiffen up. Haze is a thinner liquid, so I don't know whether you can see it in there.
Yeah, much thinner.
The good thing about this is it's very quickly taken on by baits. So things like meat. Recently, there's been a video put up on social media on Facebook with Des dyeing his meat with it is actually these 2 flavours. And dyeing his meat different colours. So yellow meat in the summer, red meat in the summer. Des actually mentions the Fluoro because at venues such as Viaduct, you're not allowed to use pellets or bandems in the winter months. So dyeing his meat bright pink is a way of sort of having that visual hook bait, but not using sort of a contraband bait, basically.
It's lovely meat anyway, so it's a great option to have, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. So not only meat, but pellets, expanders, even your ground bait, all that sort of thing can be flavoured and coloured, so they all have a flavour with them. The Banoffee one, the Fluoro one is the F1 flavour.
Yeah.
You can flavour and colour your hook baits. You can also apply it in the way that you would do with lava, just a little drizzle on top of the feeder.
I've been doing that quite a bit, just putting a bit of the Banoffee haze onto my feeder. I think it's a nice little thing. Like I say, it's a bit runnier in it, but it does work. Works really well.
Definitely. And it still has that sort of, the reason it's called haze is because it will add a haze of colour around your bait. The one thing I would say is, say for example you do your meat the day before, it will absorb into that meat or your pellets a lot more than if you, for example, just do it on the bank there and then. You will get that haze of colour coming off. The longer it's on there for, the more it'll soak into that bait and less haze will come off. So if you want a real impact, you want that haze of colour, then do it there, or keep adding it throughout the day. Whereas if you want your bait to be that colour and that flavour and it to absorb it, do it a little bit earlier, because it'll absorb into it. You see it with meat. Maybe with lava, you would try and colour things and it would just have the outside layer sort of coloured. And then once it goes in the water, that would leak off some colour. Whereas with haze, you see it with it being a thinner liquid, it'll actually absorb into the bait and keep it dyed.
So I know like Lee Kerry and that have been actually drizzling a bit of haze on like the sinkers and the wafters.
Yeah, so I'll show you an example of that. So if you can see in there, I've overdone this just to test it.
Is that Fluoro, Jay?
So that's Fluoro in there.
Yeah.
You can do that without spilling it everywhere. But basically, Fluoro, you can see it all up the sides of the pot. But basically, then you've got Fluoro wafters in a pot with Fluoro haze. When that goes into the water, that's going to kick off all that flavour and attraction, and a bit of colour around your feeder as well. So I know that's one thing that they've been doing. Lee told me about it, and I got straight on. They've been in there now for a couple of months, basically. Some on my finger.
Hey, I'll tell you what that looks like, Jake. That looks like, you know, on Ghostbusters 2 when they go in the sewers, the old ectoplasm river. That's what that looks like.
Well, it's just a sweet like that there taste. It's just a real sweet flavour with haze. That the base of it is a sweet liquid, and then obviously there's added flavours. Your Banoffees, your krill and squid, so it'll be a fishy smell, fishy flavour, but the base of it is sweet, which I don't think you can go wrong with in fishing.
No. So that's good.
Yeah,
I like haze. That's a good one.
Yeah, so haze, 8 flavours available in that. Again, that sort of follows your sort of wafter range.
Yeah.
If there's a wafter in a certain flavour, there's going to be a haze in it.
Perfect.
Fluoro rocks. So again, I've not got any here in front of me. I've used them all. I think you've used your pot. So Fluoro rocks. There are different products. So a lot of people have seen these and thought sort of assume that they're linked with lava rocks. The main difference with Fluoro rocks and lava rocks, they do not leak colour. So these are Fluoro sort of specks that you can add to your ground bait, add to your pellets, in the same colours as the Fluoro wafters. So basically, we were in a meeting, we had the Fluoro wafters there, and I crushed them up, put them on the table. I thought that'd be quite good if you could basically have your wafter and then a sprinkle of that within your feeder. That was the initial sort of thought process behind it. It looked good. I wonder if we can just put that in a pot. But we didn't want it leaking colour. For one, when you have 3 different bright colours, if it all leaks into one, then it's going to go just a funny colour anyway. So we didn't want it leaking. So these Fluoro rocks are rocks of colour that you add to your ground bait or to your pellets, and they add visual attraction. It gets fish used to picking out brighter coloured hook baits, for example, which if you use it in conjunction with a sinker or a wafter is brilliant, because obviously a bright coloured hook bait isn't necessarily something that fish are used to picking up, but if you can get them used to doing, they're going to do it more readily. But also, so Joe saw this product and straight away thought that's going to be perfect when you're targeting skimmers and bream, because those sorts of fish just love picking out flecks of colour. There's different products on the market which achieve a similar sort of thing that a lot of natural venues or venue anglers already use. And this is our sort of alternative for that. So Fluoro rocks, you've been using them in your sort of traditional feeder fishing.
Yeah, all the time. It's something that I sort of cottoned on to a few years ago, actually, having different coloured party. If you think about the old bream mixes that you used when you were younger, they always had flecks of red and yellow in. So as soon as I saw the Fluoro rocks, I thought I need to get on that. And I don't put loads in, just to scatter in throughout my mix. So there's an odd bit, but especially in like an F1 dark or something like that, those bright particles, I'm sure help. I'm sure I think the fish swim off the bottom and they spot something bright and tip up. And I just think anything you can do like that to help really is a big help, a bit of an advantage actually. So
yeah, it looks impressive when it's in like your F1 dart. We've done a video recently, and you see it, and it just looks like, why wouldn't a fish come in and investigate what that is? Sort of thing.
I left some in a tub in the garden. It was in there for up to a month, and it was still the same brightness after a month. After sort of a few hours, it was lovely and soft. So you can imagine fish just eating it without problem. Just lovely product. That I love it.
Yeah. So Fluoro rocks, so they're another addition, but so they're going to have a bit of a cross in terms of what they can do. They're going to be great for your sort of traditional feeder fishing for skimmers and bream, but also sprinkling them in a method feeder, giving the fish something similar to what's on your hook in terms of colour to pick out. That's going to be really good and really, it'll work really well.
Brilliant, yeah. So that's a nice one, Fluoro rocks.
Fluoro rocks. Next one, Fluoro bait booster. So to complete the range, now that, as you can see, very, very bright, very fluoro. That is to complete that fluoro range. We've got the hook baits, we've got Fluoro rocks, Fluoro bait booster. So it was just natural to do. Bait boosters last year were so good. We sold a lot of them basically. So add into that range with something that we've sort of added to the Wafters and sinkers range, something that we were always going to do. Fluoro bait booster, it's got the F1 flavour. So if you want that, add it to your any ground bait or pellets as well.
Nice one. So is that it, Jake?
No, we've got a couple others.
Yeah.
So we have got halibut pellet. So this is going to be something obviously for more of your sort of your specimen anglers, barbel anglers, but also if you're heading down to a venue like Evesham and there's a chance of barbel, there's something to have in your bag.
Definitely.
Halibut pellets, fish them. They're available in three flavours. Got the you have got the standard halibut, you've got cheesy garlic, you've also got spicy sausage. So they're available now in 3 mil. They're going to be great for your sort of river anglers when there's a chance of barbel.
Yeah.
And then finally, the clothing. So new hoodies, new t-shirts. So I'll just hold that up.
We were repping the SONUBAITS clothing.
Yeah, so
very nice.
New t-shirts and hoodies. So that's available now as well. So that, I'm pretty certain, wraps everything up.
Yeah, nice.
Plenty to go at, and I'm sure there's something for everyone in there.
Now, the eagle-eyed viewers among you might have noticed me fiddling with these and spotted this in the background. Just a quick sneak peek of a few bits. We've got XL absolute windows and large absolute windows now in 30 grams. So if you want a bigger feeder in a lightweight, we've got that coming. And we've got this beauty, absolute all-round hook box. Get so many hooks in here. Adam Rumble's been busy tying this one up for me. Look at that. Loads of options in there. You can double up as well, which is nice. So you can have 4-inch and 4-inch, or like here you could have 6-inch and 2-inch, whatever you want. There's so many options there. The pins are flattened. You probably can see that. Can you see that, Jake? Kind of. The pins are flattened, so you can have double them up. I know on a lot of hook boxes the angle goes like that, so the hooks pop off them. We've deliberately fluted them out so you can, whichever angle you come at them from, the hooks will stay on there and the loops will stay on there. So lovely product.
Good thing about that is you can have like your 2 lots of method feeder hook lengths, 3 and 4 inch coming from each side, rather than sort of being limited to having a 4 inch hook length and then wasting half a box.
Yeah. So it's got super strong magnets on it. As you can see, it's got a weather seal around the edge, clunks up, really strong magnets, clips just to reinforce the job, waterproof, ultra strong, coming soon.
And fit straight inside your sort of absolute drawers as well. So if you've got a Preston seat box, fit straight inside the side drawers, so you can get it.
So Jake, back to sort of some current events. So we mentioned earlier that matches are obviously changing how they run events and stuff. I noticed the Angling Trust, Feeder Masters, all these big sort of events are still going ahead, but they're changing the procedure slightly. You know, Facebook Live draws, which I think is a great idea. What do you reckon to that?
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think that's the way to go. I think if fisheries can limit the amount of anglers that are getting in close contact, and can do that for you, even just let people know the draws, as long as it's there for people to see. I know people are worried about, oh, they could fix the draw. These venues, they're not going to do that. Like, it's not in their to do that. But if they can do it for you and just let you know, either when you get there, or even just put it out there, right? This is your draw, and you can go straight to your peg. That's going to be a massive help. And to be honest, that's the way that fishing's going to be allowed to keep going. If we've got one venue that I visit a lot, Partridge Lakes, their attendances are brilliant. 50 to 100 people at times, even at this time of year. They're the venues which are going to be most affected if bans get put on the amount of people that can be gathered. So if we can do things like what venues are at the minute, limit the amount of people that are huddling together, and get them straight out and show that that's the case, that's how fishing is going to be able to carry on throughout this time. So it's definitely what he's doing.
Oh, definitely. And I think obviously doing a draw on Facebook Live or whatever is a good idea. I think if we can reduce cash payments as much as possible, I know it's against the norm, and I know people love winning an envelope with cash in it, but I think PayPal entries and PayPal winnings is the way forward. Facebook Live result services at the end. There's no need for us to hang around now. I know it goes against what we're doing. It's like, you know, everyone loves that sort of camaraderie at the end of a match and that, but you know, this is bigger than that, innit? So we want people to still go fishing. We wanted to do it safely. So it's important we do what we can. And I think doing everything digitally is a massive step in the right direction, innit, in keeping everyone on the bank.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, just you don't need to be hanging about. You don't need to be, and that's where if people start seeing that that's what's happening, that's where these things will get shut down. So just being sensible. Obviously turning up at venues if you are feeling poorly, just don't go. It's not worth it. So yeah, the way things are going, and these fisheries and tackle shop owners being proactive is what needs to happen for the sport in general.
And another thing which I think we can talk about quite well about is working from home. Now, this might seem like a stupid subject to talk about on a fishing channel, but it's not at all, because it's something we're all going to be going through, and that is the subject of working from home. I saw something on BBC News last night, 5 tips to keep you happy when you're working from home. And as we both worked from home for a number of years now, and I think, you know, it's worth just sort of saying how we go about it, because a lot of people are dreading it. I know the lads we work with have never worked from home before, and they're like, what do I do with my time? How do I approach it? So just a couple of tips, Jay, off the top of your head. I'll give a few as well that I think people, you know, I know it's not fishing related, but it's life related in the end of the day. So let's give a couple of tips if we can help people just to get into that sort of routine. I think is time well spent, I reckon.
Yeah, so I think a couple of things for me that are really, really important. The first thing is making sure that you have got some sort of structure to your day. So there's no point waking up a couple of minutes before you need to start work, because that's where you sat there in your pajamas still trying to work, and you don't feel like you're working, and you end up sort of in a bit of you feel a bit like I'm at work, sort of thing, in my pajamas. You need to get up and get yourself ready for it.
Yeah.
Having an actual somewhere that's an office, obviously not everyone will have that luxury. We work from home, so we've had to create offices for ourselves because this is our office.
Yeah.
But having somewhere that you sat properly, even if it's at a kitchen table where you've got a proper seat and you sat properly, working how you should, rather than slouched on the sofa.
Yeah.
I think if you get into that sort of mentality of being sat at home whilst you're working, it doesn't. You don't end up being very productive with it. You end up feeling like you're at home working, and then that's where everything starts feeling like just dragging, and you start feeling a bit glum about things. Yeah. The second thing is making sure that you are staying active. So getting out middle of the day, going for a walk, or if you've got pets, for myself, I go and walk the dog. Getting out the house and getting a bit of sunshine is really, really important. Yeah. It's so easy to wake up, start work, you've not left the house, you work until 5 o'clock, it's going dark, and you never see any daylight, you've not left the house, might open the door for the postman for a delivery, but that's it. Right. I think that is, I think they say, don't they, no vitamin D from the sun or whatever, is what then makes people feel down. So getting out and getting a bit of sunshine will just lift you up, and it'll also re-energize you for the second half of the day as well. I think that's massively important. You need to make sure you're staying active. It's so easy to dive into your cupboard, eat snacks all day, and actually do nothing. Just drinking cups of tea, and you end up feeling a bit glum about things, even though
I do end up feeling full of cheese.
Yeah, full of cheese.
Yeah. Cheese. But definitely. It's really it's crucial, isn't it? Like, get up. I know sounds stupid, but get up, get a shower, do something, get some breakfast. Like, I take my little girl to nursery or childcare, so that gets me out of the house before 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm back here. I've got my set hours that I like to do at home. I don't drag on past 5 o'clock, which is so easy to do because it's so easy to access, but don't do it. Get away from your computer. We spend enough time on screens anyway. But the positives are, I find it really good. I'm really productive at home, way more than I am in the Telford office. I can lock myself in here, get my headphones on and do my work. The turnaround time is far better. And it also works around your personal life quite well as well, doesn't it? Because you can you can sort of drift in and out a little bit if you want to, but just be smart about it. But don't just sit in your pajamas all day, because it's just terrible, isn't it? It's a bad situation to get into. Yeah,
definitely. You do need to make sure you're getting up, get showered, get set, like you would for any normal day of work. It is easy to fall into that where you just dive straight into your work, and that's when you start it feels like ongoing days.
Yeah.
Which sounds funny. Everyone always says, "Oh, it's all right for you. You work from home, do what you." But it's not like that. You've still got to make sure that you're treating it like work.
It is work, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's just something that I thought was very topical at the minute, because a lot of people will be thrust into this situation having never done it before. We've done it for a number of years and done it quite successfully. I dare say we've both, done 2 great jobs, I'd say. Working from home has its positives, but just make sure, just treat it as work, I'd say, and get a door on your office.
Yeah.
My little girl loves coming in my office.
Yeah, no, I'm all right. I've just had my dog that jumps on my knee from time to time.
Well, there you go. That's something totally different with the old split screen camera. I think it's something we could do a lot more of, I reckon, Jake.
I think if you've enjoyed this sort of setup, just Joe and I having a bit of a chat, it's something that we could definitely do a bit more of, especially if this is going to be the situation for the foreseeable. Keep you entertained, so make sure you click subscribe to Joe's channel.
But it's something, like I say, if we can, we're going to try and get other anglers on. We'll get like Des on. We probably end up doing this for Preston and Sonia as well. So look on them channels for this kind of content. Like I say, we just want to keep the content going, even though you know, we might be stuck indoors. So thanks everyone. That's a great run through the stuff from Jake, and give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a share, all that good stuff. What do you reckon, Jake?
It's good.
Nice
Jump
one.
right in.
Cheers, guys. See you later.